actions. After 5 months, they've only extracted 2 hostages. We know that the families want a truce. We know that the government is opposing a truce. We know that the concern is not the hostages.
Well, the far-right-wing Israeli government has committed another mass atrocity in their ongoing genocide against Palestinians. But don't worry, President Joe Biden's on the case. He is very, very unhappy with Benjamin Netanyahu. NBC News headline here, which is actually a great headline. Credit to NBC. They don't often frame these stories correctly, but this is exactly what the story is. Biden disparages Netanyahu in private, but hasn't significantly changed U.S. policy toward Israel and Gaza. Writing here, as the reported Palestinian death toll in the Gaza Strip reaches 28,000, the president continues to believe that unequivocally supporting Israel is the right policy. So often I've read, there have been leak after, I can't even count the amount of stories now that I've seen where Joe Biden is very angry privately with Netanyahu. And they all frame the story that way. Oh, he's very angry with Netanyahu. Without giving the context, which is important to give, I believe, in the headline, because most people just see the headlines, giving the context that he is not changing his policy towards Israel. The White House can leak all they want about Biden being angry with Netanyahu because they see how terrible his polling is right now because of Biden's position towards Israel, his unequivocal support of them. So they can keep trying to leak these stories about how angry he is, trying to raise Biden's poll numbers, but it doesn't mean anything. As long as you continue to support the far right-wing Israeli government with everything that they want, what does your anger do? What does your anger mean? If anything, it's worse because it showcases that Biden is aware that Israel is doing the wrong thing, yet he is unwilling to use his power to do anything about it. And that power being this ongoing support, money, weapons, resources to the Israeli government. Biden can stop that, and he is not stopping any of it. So this anger means nothing. They go on to write here, Biden has said he is trying to get Israel to agree to a ceasefire, but Netanyahu is giving him hell and is impossible to deal with, said the people familiar with Biden's comments, who all asked not to be named. Giving him hell, impossible to deal with, yet you seem to be dealing with him fine when it comes to giving him everything he wants. Bizarre. His descriptions of his dealings with Netanyahu are peppered with contemptuous references to Netanyahu as this guy. Oh my, he called him this guy. And he also apparently called him an asshole. Oh my goodness. Watch out. Joe Biden, he is here to save you because he is very angry with this guy and this asshole. 2 weeks ago, officials told NBC News that the administration was discussing delaying or slowing U.S. weapons sales to Israel as leverage. Not even stopping. And these are, first of all, discussions. So no serious attempt here to actually even delay or slow U.S. weapons. But these are discussions around delaying or slowing. Stopping isn't even on the table, isn't even part of the discussion that they're having. Yet he is very angry with Netanyahu. Give me a break. It's all bullshit. And this is the cherry on top. He and his aides continue to believe his approach of unequivocally supporting Israel is the right one. So how do you expect this far right-wing Israeli government to stop anything they are doing when your support of them is unequivocal and you believe that is the right approach? Here is what just happened. And this apparently began or really intensified while the Super Bowl was beginning, which doesn't seem like a mistake. But Common Dreams writing here, IDF rescues 2 hostages while killing dozens of Palestinians in Rafah. So before I get to some more details here, this is one of the Palestinians who survived in the area. Why are they bombing us? They told us this was a safe zone. They told us to come here. So why are they bombing us? The Israeli government has been telling Palestinians to go to the Rafah border. And then they go and bomb them. And this isn't the first time that Israel has done this, telling Palestinians to escape to a certain place and then bombing that place. They have done this multiple times now. And this is what they bombed. Tents. They bombed tents. This is an Onion headline from 2014, by the way, just to give you an idea of how long this has been going on. It's been going on much longer than 2014. But to anyone, new to this, since just October 7th, it's been going on for much longer. But this Onion headline is frighteningly accurate. Israel, Palestinians given ample time to evacuate to nearby bombing sites. This doesn't even really need to be an Onion headline. This could just be an NBC News headline, because this is exactly what has been going on. Common Dreams writing here, Israeli forces raided an apartment building in the besieged and overcrowded Gaza city of Rafah early Monday and rescued 2 hostages in an operation that killed dozens of Palestinians, including children. The freed hostages were later identified as 61-year-old Fernando Simon Marman and 70-year-old Louis Har. A spokesperson for the Israeli Defense Forces said that both were in good medical condition. The Associated Press reported that heavy airstrikes that provided cover for the operation killed at least 67 Palestinians. The operation marked just the second time in more than 4 months of war that the IDF managed to rescue people taken captive during the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel in early October. Since then, Israel's military has killed more than 28,000 people in the Gaza Strip, including several Israeli hostages. This tells you a lot right here. The Israeli government knew they were bombing civilians, killed at least 67 Palestinians here, civilians, to get 2 hostages. This is going on while there was a deal on the table that I'll get to after this next clip I'm going to show you, where Israel could have had all the hostages back. And in fact, the families right now of the Israeli hostages are very angry with Netanyahu, because there have been multiple attempts to try to get all the hostages back through a ceasefire agreement that Netanyahu keeps shutting down, because his goal here is not to get the hostages. His goal is to completely destroy and control Gaza. So I want to show you a bit of a clip here from it's from Democracy Now! With a human rights attorney, Noura Erakat, discussing this recent campaign.
The Israeli government is not concerned with its hostages. If they were, they would have engaged in good faith negotiations. The diplomatic negotiations led to the relief of 136 hostages. That wasn't any military operations. After 5 months, they've only extracted 2 hostages. We know that the families want a truce. We know that the government is opposing a truce. We know that the concern is not the hostages.
So as mentioned there, the only real attempts from the Israeli government to get out hostages have been through these exchanges. And this one is from back in November, the second exchange. Since then, there has been no real attempts to get out the hostages, which is why the families, the Israeli families are so frustrated with Netanyahu. And then you have, as I mentioned earlier, attempted deals like this, Netanyahu rejecting this Gaza ceasefire deal that would have released all of the hostages. All of them, in exchange for more Palestinian prisoners. So this is what they were doing before. This would have been a larger version of that, and Netanyahu completely rejected it outright. Because again, this is not about the hostages for Netanyahu. This is about completely controlling the land. This is about ethnic cleansing. And he has said as much. So it's not like there's no attempts here to try and, put words in his mouth. He has discussed that he wants to completely control Gaza. He wants to completely develop that land. That's his intent. So this is not about the hostages. That's why these bombing campaigns continue. And then, thankfully, I'm just bringing this up to show you that there are countries out there that recognize what is going on and are taking steps to try and not be a part of that. So court orders Netherlands to halt delivery of fighter jet parts to Israel. So the court noted a clear risk that the parts are being used in serious violations of international humanitarian law. This is one of the examples of what the ICJ report that concluded that it is likely that there is a genocide going on. This is one of the results of that you now have governments all around the world taking steps to ensure they are not a part of this potential genocidal campaign, which is a genocidal campaign. But again, you have to go back and watch my video on that ruling to understand why the wording is what it was. But these governments understand that they do not want to be a part of this. So you at least have, the Netherlands here, and others as well that I've seen, attempt to take steps to remove themselves from the equation. And this is just also worth noting. Owen Jones retweeted this. Israel's official Twitter account has posted a picture of aid for Ukrainian refugees in Moldova in 2022 and pretended it's aid from Israel for Gaza. So this is the official Israeli account that posted this. This is not an image from Gaza. It is, in fact, refugees from Ukraine stock video. They actually went on to delete this tweet, as a Shine writes here, because they realized, not realized, because they were caught, the reality that if you want to feel no hope for humanity, go check out the Israeli Twitter account. It is completely insane. But this is, these kinds of steps are the bare minimum. This is what we should be seeing from the US government, from the Canadian government, from the UK government, where they are actually cutting off support to this far right-wing Israeli government and their genocidal campaign. That is the only way to stop any of this.